Hi there, Peter O'Donoghue here, and I'm excited to share this webinar with you. In this presentation, I'm going to show you the easiest way ever developed to get any senior executive to meet with you without making a single cold call ever or wasting hundreds of hours trying to magically attract clients, which I see too many consultants having to do. Now you can actually see me on screen there. I'm the grey-haired fox from a little country called Wales in the UK. But anyway, let's dive straight into this. I first want to say, if you don't believe it's possible to get meetings with any senior executive and potentially double or triple your business in 60 days or less, then I'm not asking you to believe anything just yet. All I ask is that you keep an open mind when I show you the evidence, and you can figure out if this is actually absolutely possible for you. So here's my big promise to you today. In the next 50 to 60 minutes, I'm going to teach you a 1, 2, 3 step-by-step strategy for dramatically increasing your sales to C-level executives without cold calling, grunt work, or wasting time on social media. I'm putting in front of you more sales opportunities in the next 3 months than the whole of your last 24 months guaranteed. And I can make a virtual certain bet that no one on this webinar is using all of these strategies exactly as I'll show them to you. But everyone, including you, could if only you knew how to do it. So what you're about to learn from me in this next hour comes from a tried and tested, proven, high-value consulting sales model. Not only from millions of dollars my clients have made using what I'm about to show you, but it's also the same strategies I use inside my very own consulting business. Now, unlike a lot of other self-proclaimed attraction marketing gurus out there teaching theories who have never actually done what they're teaching, I run these things in my business day to day. So what you're about to see is the stuff that I do. I walk the walk and practice what I preach. And after being in the trenches for the past 15 years, actually doing this stuff. So that's me there with my little family. I thought it'd be a nice change from all the suit shots that you'll see or you have seen. So as you'll notice, I definitely have the grey hairs. So I run a consulting business in the UK with clients all over the world. It's called Predictable Pipeline. So I build sales systems for corporate and fast growth clients. And I've worked with companies like EMC, Epicor and Caterpillar amongst hundreds of other technology companies. And they're looking to create that holy grail that is a predictable sales pipeline. I'm known as a world expert on outbound prospecting, and I'm a contributing writer for places like HubSpot, the Institute of Sales and Marketing Management. And I guess on a more academic note, I graduated with an MBA with specialisms in biobehavior. But look, this webinar isn't about me. It's about a system for predictably creating new high-value sales opportunities, like the one that created over $600,000 in sales pipeline for a consulting client of mine within 30 days. And I want to show you how we did that, especially as these days, this is exactly what I specialize in, helping consultants rapidly grow their business easily into the 6 figures per month mark without burning themselves out trying to ride the feast and famine of winning clients and delivering their services, and spending hundreds of hours a month trying to make 33 different marketing methods work while keeping things very, very, very simple. I have absolutely no doubt these strategies can absolutely scale your consulting business quicker than easier than going at it alone. Take my client Michael, for example. I'll show you a video from Michael in a minute, but Michael came to me for help. He came to me when his consulting business was struggling. It was clear he was focusing on all the wrong things. He even said so himself. He felt like a busy fool. And that was before working with me. Before he came to me, his strategy for growth was to constantly create new content, post it all over the internet to try and get clients. He also paid a well-known company over $15,000 to create a core story for his first meetings to wow prospective clients with. But he couldn't get his foot in the door to show that presentation too. That was $15,000 of presentation material sat gathering dust on his hard drive, just waiting to be shown to someone. He felt like the teenager with the best tux in town and no date to take to the prom to show off with. What a waste. He had no consistent way of getting new clients, meaning it was either feast or famine, and by his own admission, mostly famine. He tried a few mentors who had set up his CRM, gave him some copy and paste email introduction templates that are freely available on the internet, and none of it worked for him. None of it worked because he didn't have a strategy that was right for his business. So at the start of every month, he would simply wonder where he'd get the next client from, which is no way to live your life. Living in constant stress and panic about where the next business is going to come from. So that's why he hired me as his mentor. And he ultimately joined one of my programs. So I worked closely with Michael and it became very clear what we needed to do, very quickly what we needed to do. And the results that we got, so let's hear from Michael.
Hi, my name's Michael Whalen. I'm managing partner for the Paleo Group, a Beijing-based recruitment firm with clients mainly in the US. I've been working with Peter about 2 months. My first cold emails went out a month ago. And since that time, my pipeline has built to a little over 600,000 US dollars. This is in less than a month from a scratch start. So if you're a consultant and you're struggling with prospecting, you need a system that works, pick up the phone, call Peter O'Donoghue. You'll be happy you did. I am. Thanks. Bye now.
Okay, so that's $600,000 in sales pipeline in under 30 days. So that's the power of tapping into the right system and the right mentor. Talk about a turnaround for the books. Could you use a quick 600K of sales opportunities right now? So now, more importantly, when you have this in place, it's there every single month. Month in, month out. It's not a one-off hit. You too can finally feel secure, knowing you have a predictable income from high-value consulting clients. And that's what I'm about to show you over the next 50 to 60 minutes. I'm going to show you exactly how this can be achieved. Now, I know all of this is exciting, but before we move forward, I want to be clear who this is for and who this is not for. So let's start with who this is not for. So look, this is not for someone who is not willing to do any work to get ahead in life. There is no magic button. As consultants, I find we all have a thirst for knowledge, but you must be able to take that information and implement what I show you, or be prepared to take on help to make sure you follow through and implement. Plus, this is not for the people who do not have a skill set and who do not believe their consulting can genuinely help businesses. I'm not willing to help that person get a load of clients that they actually can't help. Look, it's just going to create a whole mess on your hands anyway. You must already have proved that you can add value to your clients either in your own business or working as a consultant for someone else. And lastly, this is not for you if you are searching for an idea of what to sell to start a consulting business. I'm not going to show you how to be a Facebook consultant or what niches you can create a business in. You already have a skill set and an expertise, and you are looking for help to get your foot in the door to get new high-value clients. This isn't a fake it till you make it show. You'll already be at the top of your game, you'll already know you can win the big deals and add value, but you're just struggling to get your foot in the door with enough of those opportunities with predictability. So now, I've said that, and it was important to say that. So then let's look who this is for. So in a nutshell, this is for you if you're an ethical consultant who can genuinely help your clients and add huge value, but for whatever reason up until this point, you've been struggling to predictably get new clients. Plus, this is also for anyone with a high-value skill or talent who's looking to start a consultant business. Yes, that's right. This also works even if you're just starting out, but you must have been a consultant for a company, or you are at the moment, and be looking to start your own practice. So how cool would it be if you didn't have to take that leap of faith starting a new business with no consulting clients? And this is also for you if you're tired of the financial peaks and troughs of trying to scale a consulting business. So to recap, if until now you've been stressed out and feel burnt out, spinning your wheels to either get your consulting business off the ground or just to get more clients, then this is going to help you tremendously. So here's what you're about to learn today. Look, you're going to learn the exact blueprint I personally used to go from being a stressed out, struggling trainer and consultant to building an impressive corporate client base and becoming known as a world expert on new client acquisition. You're also going to see how we've shaved off the years of learning so you can instantly put this system into your business within the next few weeks. Plus, you're also going to find out where to tap into the number one source of perfect leads for your business and how to get your foot in the door with high-level C-level executives so you never have to worry where your next client is coming from. And I'm going to show you how you can do all of this virtually. Meaning you never have to leave your home office and you can live anywhere in the world while still getting incredible results for your clients. As well as that, if anything today, you are about to finally see how to tap into the biggest deals in your marketplace. I can double or triple your fees so you can get paid what you're truly worth, even if no one has heard of you before. If you have no qualifications or credentials, and until now you are secretly terrified of contacting the biggest consulting prospects out there, plus much, much more. As we dive into this, at this point I like to say, congratulations on being a consultant. It's a real big money business with huge revenue potential for you. Whether it be related to management consulting, HR consulting, strategy consulting, marketing consulting, you name it. There's a huge demand right now for your services. Like me, maybe you have spent some money on consulting and mentoring in the past. I myself have invested in several mentors to improve different aspects of my life, from high-end coaching for my business where I've spent thousands of dollars with just a crazy return on investment. Every time I take on health and fitness coaches, I always train harder and get better results faster than I ever did without them. And over the years, I've invested in a host of other consultants. And I can honestly say, with my hand on my heart, I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am today without the help of my consultants and mentors. And this is just one of the many reasons I'm passionate about helping consultants like you get your message out there, get paid what you're worth, and make a huge impact to your clients. But I must warn you, because things are evolving so quickly, there's a lot of confusion out there as to the best way to grow a consulting business today. So before you go rushing off and trying to build and scale a consulting business with high value, high paying clients, be careful not to get caught in the same trap we see 95% of modern consultants have recently found themselves in. And this trap comes from all the different advice being pumped out by these new social media gurus and inbound marketing experts. You may have heard of some of these strategies yourself, that you have to constantly create new content, write your book, build a blog and go blogging every single day, posting your videos on your YouTube channel, broadcasting your life on Facebook, running expensive ads on LinkedIn and Facebook to convoluted funnels and 679 automated sequences. You just need to be a brain surgeon to understand, never mind implement. And even worse, that you can peck around on LinkedIn sending a few messages via their limited in-mail system and magically create $1 million business for free. Now, I'm not saying creating content and advertising is bad. It's just that if you are selling high-value consulting, you generally only need to contact a small number of people in the right way to create a massive consulting revenue and scale your consulting business. You see, while technology such as Facebook, LinkedIn and paid advertising is evolving at such a rapid pace, very little of it has really changed the way you get your foot in the door with high-level, high-paying, C-level clients. The way to do that has remained pretty consistent over the last 20 years, with the added advantage of speed and ease because of some of the latest technological advances that have just made it so easy. Let me explain. You see, the hard ways of trying to magically attract clients with attraction marketing simply do not work when you are targeting high-value businesses and high-level CEOs, VPs, and senior decision makers. It simply doesn't work for getting their attention. There is an easy way, and I'm going to show you exactly what that is. Before I do, can you relate to this? Now, virtually all my best clients have come to me in despair after spending months to even years creating lead magnets, blogs, articles, tip sheets, learning Facebook advertising, losing their shirt on LinkedIn advertising, and spending at least 2 to 3 days a week pecking around trying to answer questions on LinkedIn and Quora with little to zero returns. Is that ringing any bells for you? They've bought into the hype that they need an automated 347 touch marketing funnel. And when we talk, they are relieved when I show them there is a new way. Like my client Greg, who quickly replaced inbound lead generation and tripled his sales pipeline, all within around 90 days. He says, look, we began using Peter's system in October of 2014 as we wanted to move away from relying solely on inbound marketing. We are now using his system as our number one lead generation approach, and it's just overtaken inbound marketing as our biggest source of new leads. Using that system, we have developed a predictable sales pipeline of in excess of 250,000 at any one time, whereas this was more like 80,000 previously. And our biggest challenge now is getting the manpower to scale this so we can increase up to the 500,000 mark and beyond. And it gets even better again. The new way is doing everything by direct contact. Now I say new way, but I've been successfully doing direct contact for the past 22 years. Even when I got my first job cold calling in the software industry at the age of 22, fresh-faced out of university. I first started out making direct contact via the phone, which you may know is cold calling. Now that may have brought some negative associations to your mind about calling people at home, wasting people's time and reading from scripts, but I assure you, professional cold calling into potential high-value consulting clients has always been the single biggest way to generate new business, but very few people have had the skill to do it. Those that did were lauded as rainmakers and coveted by the best consulting firms and attracted the best salary, perks and stock options. But there's just no reason to limit yourself anymore by not using direct contact, because all of the new technological advancements that are now, they just don't involve any cold calling, any getting stuck at gatekeepers or spending years becoming a master of the cold calling game. With the push of a button, you can connect with your ideal high-value clients all over the world, no matter what level they are in an organization. In fact, the higher up a business they are, the easier it is, and again, with zero cold calling. So things are changing fast, and it's important not to get left behind. Like billionaire entrepreneur and founder of the Virgin Group, Richard Branson says, it's amazing what doors can open if you reach out to people with a smile, friendly attitude and a desire to make a positive impact. And in a nutshell, that's exactly what we are going to do. Identifying people that are a great fit for your services, reaching out to them in a way that makes positive impact, and to create a conversation. A little bit like my client Simon. When Simon came to me, he was very overwhelmed after spending months creating a mini site with free videos and a lead magnet with content that no one was seeing. He really did feel overwhelmed and was struggling to see the wood from the trees. Even after working with a few well-respected attraction marketing coaches who just made his overwhelm even worse. Now, Simon is a raving fan of mine, and I'm really pleased for him and the results we achieved. But for me, it was easy. Within minutes of talking, it was very obvious what we had to do. But then that's because I've been doing this for over 20 years, so I can connect the dots quite easily. I guess I'm like the prospecting Rain Man. I tend to see patterns and distinctions that few other people get. You see, we quickly identified that we really only needed to target and get as many meetings as we could with no more than around 300 companies. So will you indulge me by letting me read out what Simon has so graciously said? Is that okay? Okay, perfect. So, I worked with Peter on an outreach campaign to large pharmaceutical companies based in Switzerland to help introduce our services and introduce our company to senior decision makers who could make a buying decision. Peter helped right from the start and guided the thinking about the decision of the campaign. He worked with me to develop the proposition for the campaign and to think about the specific sequences and contact emails we were going to use. He also advised on how to set it all up and what technology would be optimal between functionality and cost and ease of use. His experience and range of knowledge of all of these different areas was invaluable. And it's extremely difficult to navigate the different choices available, and the time taken to do that would be extremely inefficient and have a major opportunity cost on billable revenue. He also helped to actually kick-start the campaign and get it going, which is always something I have struggled with. He even advised on how to use a virtual assistant in order to make the campaign happen on a day-to-day basis without much input from me, which was a huge relief. So one of the key challenges that I faced was balancing time between completing outreach activities at a necessary volume and getting on with the business of doing the work for serving my clients. And this is a challenge that many consultants have. What Peter was able to do is to work with me to develop a system, well, actually really just pulling me into his already developed system that I could do and that I could work with my virtual assistant in order to generate the responses I needed from my ideal high-value prospects. We created a targeted list of just 1,100 people in around 300 companies and made first contact by business email. It took 3 weeks to start and then about another 4 weeks to complete, and from here we initially generated 3 strong immediate opportunities for business which will have a lifetime value of around £500,000 each. And we were able to secure introductions to more large clients who have an ongoing requirement for our services and who are continual buyers of the services we provide. The pipeline we have generated in a few short weeks is absolutely phenomenal. Peter was also very keen and very diligent in terms of making sure that any actions we developed were implemented, which is one of my normal failings. It's absolutely certain that had I not been working with him, this campaign would not have happened and we would not have generated the revenue opportunities that we have now. Look, I didn't read that out to boast or brag, but to help you get some insights into something I very quickly got to work with Simon on. He was caught in a trap and was constantly spreading himself too thin, trying to do too many things at once. He was working on a new book, he was launching a new free video series, he was trying to build complicated funnels, he was posting on LinkedIn, regularly sending in-mail messages and LinkedIn friend requests. Look, he was just spinning his wheels. He was pretty much doing everything possible besides bringing in the new clients he wanted. He was overwhelmed, overworked, and unhappy. What I showed him was a turning point in his client acquisition. He'd been mistaking activity with accomplishment. We set a new rule for his business. If it doesn't produce almost immediate results, it does not go on the to-do list. And that's when I introduced him to one of the biggest business breakthroughs that I have also had, the power of simplicity. So like the entrepreneur and founder of the Virgin Group, Richard Branson, says again, complexity is your enemy. Any fool can make something complicated. It's hard to make something simple. But making winning high-value consulting clients simple has become my obsession. To make things simple and extremely profitable. But why? You see, when you simplify, there are less moving parts, which reduces overwhelm, reduces headaches, helps you stay more focused, helps you stay more productive, and all of a sudden, you find that enjoyment you once had for your business again. I've now managed to simplify winning high-value consulting clients into just 3 stages. And this is it. The fastest way I know to building a successful consulting business. As you can imagine, they all laughed when I told them that you can create as much business as you need in any consulting business with just 3 simple steps. But then my clients started to get absolutely phenomenal results without stress, without anxiety, without overwhelm. Take Jorn, for example. He's kind of smiling in that photo, but when we first spoke, he was far from happy. See, he was seriously stressed and overworked. He'd hit a cap on how much new business he could create. He was working over 70 hours a week and was flat out of ideas of how to crack his target market. You see, he was selling very, very high value consulting to the chief operating officers of the world's largest airlines. He was struggling with how to get his foot in the door. He couldn't get past gatekeepers when he tried calling. And even then his prospects spent their lives working from multiple countries and he just couldn't track them down, never mind get his foot in the door to start the high value consulting sales process. So I had a quick look and I quickly explained what we needed to do. I recommended that we profile and build a high priority list of all the chief operating officers of his targeted airlines, complete with their direct business email address, which we did using the tools and resources I gave him. It didn't take long, probably a few days at most. Then I told him to stop working on anything that wasn't bringing in results, like pecking around on LinkedIn and creating new content. We needed to free up some time if we were going to quickly implement my plan. So within 1 week, he seemed like a new person already. On our second call together, he told me that all non-direct contact activities were on hold. All the silly little projects that were holding him back were gone. Now he had the spare time and razor focus to implement our campaign. That's when I gave him a few simple steps to focus on, which ended up with him creating over 128 meetings with his high-value prospects in less than 45 days. Man, he was like an excited little schoolboy. I wish I'd kept the excited text he sent a few days after we started the campaign. I'd love to have shown you how excited this reserved German engineer was and the pure joy, and many expletives actually, he expressed that he was being inundated with his ideal prospects asking him when they could talk with him. He'd never experienced anything like it before. And as you can see on the screen here, John even had the COO of Lufthansa literally commanding his middle-level managers speak to him and set up meetings with him. But before I run you through the sales system, I want to make sure you really understand why you need a proactive sales approach to winning new high-value consulting clients. So outbound prospecting is absolutely essential in any consulting business. And let me show you why. So firstly, outbound prospecting allows you to tap into the approximately 90% of the marketplace that aren't actively looking for your service at the moment. These are your blue ocean strategy prospects. That's because they aren't scouring the marketplace looking. They can be educated about the business landscape you operate in, and you can position yourselves as the only experts to deal with, which means they are easier to close with much shorter sales cycles and with much higher margins. When done right, you are generally the first and only person into most deals. Can you begin to imagine how much time and attention you can give your best prospects knowing you are the only person in the deal? You can charge pretty much what you like without a competitor coming in, undercutting you, or forcing you to rip all of your margin out of the project. So, if you believe the hype in marketing at the moment, you've been mistaken for believing that the only way to generate leads is via inbound marketing. Well, I caution you not to believe the hype. Research by the Aberdeen Group into the best-in-class B2B companies using marketing automations, i.e. ones that already were sophisticated in their marketing approach, showed that the very best in-class companies had an 80% outbound sales process and a 20% inbound, i.e. 80% of their B2B leads were generated via outbound methods, i.e. direct contact. Even some of the world's biggest proponents of inbound marketing have massive outbound prospecting departments. Would it surprise you that the inbound marketing evangelists like HubSpot actually have one of the biggest outbound sales teams? And this research was confirmed by marketingprofs.com, who say that 2 of the 3 most effective B2B lead generation approaches fall within the outbound outbound category. And that's without them knowing a huge amount of the outbound method I'm going to show you that doesn't require any cold calling or any telesales. And in our test gives at least a 10-time increase in results over every other method available. And in their study into what lead generation methods are working in professional services, the RAIN group identified that 84% of professional services companies like yours are planning to increase their lead generation efforts. And of those, 41% were planning a significant increase. So, and make sure you are listening to this, 84% of companies are planning to increase their lead generation. If you aren't planning on increasing your lead generation efforts, then it is a certainty that it is your competitors or even new entrants into your industry that are. Do not be left behind on this and find yourself in an industry dominated by savvy consulting firms that have invested in B2B lead generation, while you're flailing around doing the same old thing, worrying where your next opportunity is going to come from. So, let me walk you through what many have dubbed as the ultimate high-value consulting sales model. This here is the exact three-step process that is responsible for tens of millions of dollars in sales for my clients' businesses. And I'm going to walk you step by step through this. So firstly, how to drive predictable prospects through your perfect contact and into your perfect meeting, meaning you can consistently and predictably generate your perfect clients. And what's really exciting for me, after all the different consultants I've helped go through this process, is knowing you're literally just one predictable sales funnel away from creating as much high-value consulting clients as you want. Now, looking at the predictable sales funnel, perfect prospects are first. So at this point, everyone wants to talk about building lists, how to find people, lists, and then how do I contact them? How do I pitch them? However, there's no point in generating lists of people or even the best way of contacting them if you haven't got a perfect meeting to get them excited and curious about meeting with you, and that ultimately converts them to clients. And the very first thing you have to create, therefore, is a reason to meet with you, a reason that appeals to C-level executives. It seems to be common sense, right? But as we all know, common sense is far from common. So this meeting can't just be any meeting. You need the perfect meeting. So what makes the perfect meeting? So your perfect meeting is something that when your prospect hears about it and what it includes, they literally cannot refuse, and they are going to bite your hand off wanting to meet with you. In fact, they are either so curious about it they have to meet with you, or they are so fearful that they are going to miss out on something if they don't meet with you, that they will be asking how quickly you can meet with them. Do your prospects feel that way about a potential of meeting with you now? It doesn't matter whether they have an existing consultant, believe they already do it well in-house, are happy as they are, don't have a budget in them, aren't in the marketplace. All of that stuff is just irrelevant because they will want to meet with you now to find out what is in your perfect meeting. Your ideal prospects will be so curious and even fearful of missing out that they will want to meet with you as soon as you can fit them in, especially after they've been through your perfect contact mechanism, which I'll show you a little later on. So, your perfect meeting. Let me ask you a question. If you were to charge a prospect for your first meeting with you, how much would you feel comfortable charging? Yep, that's right, the meeting you have now. So my guess is that by now you are scratching your head mumbling, what's this fool on about? Surely you must know we have to have that meeting so I can ask the prospect the fantastic consultative questions I've learned to qualify them in or out of the sales process, to see what their business pain is, and determine the best approach to sell them. And if you are thinking like that, then consider yourself lucky because you took action and attended today, because you are about to make a real breakthrough in your sales success. You'll love the simple yet extremely powerful concept I'm about to show you. Very few, if any, of the consultants I work with at the start of our engagement can articulate any reason at all why their perfect prospect should meet with them. And that is the critical part of opening the floodgates of high-value consulting business with high-paying corporate and executive clients. You see, if your prospects are senior business people like CEOs and VPs, the C-suite, you'll get great success in creating value in the first meeting if you know exactly what value they are seeking, because it's very different to the requirements of the people you'll find hanging out in LinkedIn groups, on Facebook, and clicking Google pay-per-click ads. A major research project by the Keenan Flagler Business School and IBM and Target Market Inc. into where senior execs of the top 500 US organizations spend their time in a buying decision showed that they spent most of their time at the beginning 3 phases of a company purchase decision, where they got involved in assessing the competitive landscape and understanding current issues, establishing short and long range business objectives, and setting short and long range business strategy. So this graph above represents this, with the left axis showing the amount of time they're involved and the bottom axis the progression of the buying process. So after these initial 3 phases of a buying cycle, senior executives pass decisions over to a more traditional decision-making unit. And then they step out of the process almost entirely, only to come back to rubber sign the developed solution. And it is in this middle grouping where lower level people in an organization will set about exploring options to the problem they've already identified and to find the solution they already think they need. And then they set the supply criteria based on those, and then they scour the marketplace for alternative solutions to solve their already well-defined criteria. Well, in their minds. And it is this decision-making unit where most people spend their time selling into, dealing with inbound leads, answering requests for proposals, being used in benchmarking exercises, and all those other activities that drain your time, frustrate you, and leave you spinning your wheels. But they had no real chance of winning the business or driving predictable revenue for your consulting business. If you've been in business more than a few months, you're probably sat there right now nodding your head saying, Pete, you're absolutely right there. So now I've opened your eyes to where you've almost certainly been going wrong with selling to senior executive previously. I'm going to bust another myth about selling consulting, and that is that consultative selling in your very first meeting with a prospect will establish you as an expert. Too many sales models assume that your prospect will welcome you with open arms and talk freely with you about their pain, where they are now, where they want to be, so you can identify the gap and position yourself as the bridge to the solution. Look, this is naive at best, and anyone teaching this doesn't really understand the differences between outbound and inbound sales. You have seen that it is absolutely essential to include an element of outbound sales in your overall sales strategy. And now you have to make sure you understand the nuances to make it pay for you. Yes, you can ask brilliant consultative questions, but how many cold prospects will actually allow you the time to ask those well thought out consultative questions? Very few. Unless that they instantly recognize that they are in immediate need of what you do just via magical timing, which, there is a way that I can show you how to create that a little later on as well, but also because you give them something of value first. Unless they're willing and ready to interact with you in such an open way, the consultative sales process cannot take place. And as you've experienced, this very rarely happens on the first meetings with new outbound prospects. So what can we do with all of this knowledge? Quite simply, you structure your sales system to provide strategic value to your prospect, to create your perfect meeting. This relatively simple yet powerful strategy involves taking a largely intangible, hard to define meeting that may or may not be adding value in the prospect's minds, not yours, and strategically turning it into a tangible, value creating product that they can understand, that they can just get, and that adds immense value to them. So much value that they just simply cannot refuse to meet you now. And that is the key. We have to create a meeting for you that is so powerful that the prospect wants to meet you now, regardless of budget or what's going on in their business, because until you meet, you cannot start positioning yourself as an expert and beginning to create sales opportunities. So, what value are your ideal prospects looking for? We've already seen that they wanted to be educated on new ideas, and in particular they are focused on assessing the competitive landscape, establishing business objectives, setting short and long range strategy. So how do you do that? In my client programs, I have 5 powerful ways of creating perfect meetings that literally compel people to agree to meet with you right now. We don't have time to go through them now, and we can do that if we end up talking on the telephone. They really aren't that difficult to do, powerful, but not that difficult. And the results that are possible for you. So, I don't know, let's take a look at a past client result. So I promised I'd give you an insight into an amazing result that one client got from this strategy of creating the perfect meeting. So this client, who I can't name due to an NDA, is in the technology industry, and they were struggling to get first meetings with IT directors of the UK top 500 accounts that they were targeting. So we decided to commission a wide-ranging research piece into the effect of disruptive technology and how it would impact their target prospects. And they cleverly made it about a level above their technology. So it wasn't seen to be promotional and too narrowly focused just on them. They then got the independent research company to sell that research on their website for £2,000, even though they never expected to sell any that way. That wasn't why it was designed. And this was strategic planning at its best. When they were communicating the value of a first meeting with their ideal prospects, they were able to lead with this as a huge value add incentive to the meeting. After they delivered a couple of other bullet points about the meeting, which incidentally most of my clients can't do before we work together, they added on top of that something like this. So our consultant will also bring with him 5 copies of independent research companies' white paper on the emerging technology trends in the technology industry and how market-leading organizations should be gearing up to leverage them for competitive advantage. This is currently on sale for £2,000 on the website. If you gain nothing else from the meeting, which is unlikely, then as a minimum, our consultant will leave you with £10,000 worth of research to freely distribute around the company. This one simple strategy saw an increase of meetings booked from 1 in 15 prospects to 8 out of 10. And that generated that company over $15 million in sales pipeline within 3 months. And this was a fair while back, in the much, much harder days of cold calling. And look, there was no trickery involved. There was just an equitable exchange of value from that very specific part of the sales process. So for the prospect, it just seemed to make sense. So just imagine what you can do with this concept if you had a way to easily connect with senior people quickly and efficiently without cold calling. And when you develop such a high-value first meeting, people will be falling over themselves to meet with you. So your fantastic perfect meeting that we create should make it a no-brainer for the prospect to say yes. Imagine the sense of calm and confidence you will have when you can confidently point out to someone why they will get value from meeting with you. Now, even when they have said some things like, call me back in 12 months, I just don't have budget, it's not high on our radar. Imagine how much new opportunity you could create to help others with the service you provide. Imagine just how easy it would be to get into first meetings with anyone you want to. Simply by communicating your strategically designed value. I can tell you this, it really is a game changer. And all of the 5 frameworks I run my clients through can create this perfect meeting in hours. And they certainly don't need to invest in any outside research company. There are much easier ways of doing it. You can, but there are easier ways of doing it. There is nothing you can't do yourself or with my guidance within a couple of days. So you've developed your perfect meeting and are excited to get in front of your perfect prospects, but where and how do you find them? So have you tried making contact with senior executives before? Have you struggled with profiling your best prospects and then building targeted lists with their contact details? You may have experienced challenges getting stuck at the gatekeeper or finding out just who is the right person to contact in an organization. If you've ever felt frustrated, confused, or dead in the water and didn't know what to do to find the right contact details for your best prospects without spending hours doing tedious research or calling switchboards, hopelessly trying to obtain direct dial numbers, then you will absolutely love this section. Now here's the good news. It's never been easier to build lists of highly qualified prospects of senior business people than right now today. There'll be massive breakthroughs in technology to help you build a small and highly focused list of your ideal prospects. And most of these can be easily outsourced if you don't want to be doing the research yourself. Very often for as little as $5 per hour, you can get someone who's skilled at this. If you crack this way of building laser-targeted lists, you can scale your new business pipeline with 100% certainty, like the client examples I show you here have all done. So the old way was using old-fashioned list building companies, which were generally a little sleazy to deal with, possibly outsourced telesales companies that would generally give your company a bad name calling on your behalf, or just try and cold calling yourself and getting stuck at gatekeepers or struggling to find people's direct dial number. Well, that doesn't have to be the case anymore, because the quick way is to use the latest cutting-edge research tools that will help you profile your absolutely best ideal prospects in seconds. These are the ones that all my best clients use. These tools give big breakthroughs in helping you build small and highly focused lists. And it is important to appreciate that everything I'm about to show you can be easily outsourced. And when you do this right, you can scale your new business pipeline with 100% certainty. So here is a method to profile known prospects, i.e. companies you have already identified as being a great fit for your consulting services. Just head on over to their websites. Most companies have a senior staff profile page that may look something like this one, of a global management consulting company. An easy way to profile these individuals and get their email addresses is by using one of the tools I share in my program, and this one is called Capture by Ringlead. What you're doing here is building up a highly targeted list by simply selecting people from their website. You just click the research button and then the system will shoot off to scour the internet for information to help you engage that person. It will find their direct email address and direct dial number if possible. And of course, the email is what we're most interested in, so we can make direct contact with them. Systems like this typically give a 90% plus accuracy on business email addresses, opposed to, even less than 60% sometimes with traditional list brokers. And you have the added bonus of no longer having to navigate the shark-infested waters of list sellers. Hey, that sounds like a bonus to me. And the best part is they are practically peanuts to buy on a monthly subscription, with some of the best ones coming in at less than $50 a month. Just imagine the possibilities of connecting with a small number of highly targeted prospects using a solution like this. Using this type of research software, you can very quickly and easily profile key target high potential value prospects in under a minute or two. Just imagine what it'd be like to build up to 50 to 100 highly targeted prospects like that daily, all with very little effort. You could even have someone to do this level of research for you full-time as an employee or even as a part-time outsourcer. People with these skills are relatively easy to find. And you don't even have to have websites with a people profile on it. Sometimes with the other tools I show you can just go direct to their website and it will give you a list of all of the email addresses associated with that company. It is that easy. And these are what most of my best clients use so they can focus on delivering and consulting. But what if you're like many of the consultants I talk to and you have no idea where to start with list building? You may never have had to go out and target businesses before, and the whole concept of profiling prospects might be alien to you. Look, don't worry, I've got you covered too. Technology exists that acts as a wrapper around LinkedIn to use that advanced search functionality to profile prospects. You can build your list of high value prospects based on multiple different selection points, such as job title, industry, employee size, seniority, length of service in a company, and much, much more. So these sources don't take any contact data from LinkedIn themselves because you and I know that most people use their personal email address there. What it does is takes a person's first name, last name, and company name, which are generally very up-to-date information, and then it uses that info to go out and scour the internet to find those precious business email addresses. They then check whether they are live, and they do this with amazing accuracy. Within seconds, these services can provide you with a business email address of any C-level executive you want to connect with. Their real business address, that is. By adapting or adopting a proactive outbound prospecting system using these cutting-edge list-building tools, you can quickly and easily build a highly qualified list of prospects that you can contact with ease. Prospects that have the potential to double, triple, or more your average deal size. And these aren't even the most advanced of the level of targeting you can achieve with the amazing technology available to you at the moment. And how would you like to become a magician that can use a crystal ball and magically know which companies are absolutely ready and waiting for you to contact them and are absolutely ripe for buying your services? And no, this has nothing to do with advertising, PPC ads, requests for proposals, tenders. This is a crystal ball-like opportunity where you can know companies that are just right for your services before anyone else in the marketplace does. And in many instances, before the company even knows it themselves. And that secret crystal ball is known as trigger events. Trigger event is an event that shifts decision makers from someone who would never have bought from you yesterday into someone who is very highly likely to buy from you today. They often fall into one of three categories. A bad experience, i.e. the decision maker has had a bad experience with a product or service, with people or with a provider. For instance, this may have been a product or service change that creates their dissatisfaction. Or a change or a transition. The decision maker has a change or transition in people, places, or priorities. For instance, there may have been a change in the decision maker at an account. A new decision maker may have entered into an account, or they may have adopted a new technology. So awareness, third one, the decision maker becomes more aware of the need to change for either legal, risk avoidance, or economic reasons. For instance, they may have a new understanding that engaging someone like you is less risky than continuing to do things the way they are currently doing it. So some typical trigger events are new executives. A newly hired member of the C-suite has ample authority and the desire to shake things up. Since they don't have established traditions in their new company and are looking to prove their value quickly, they are more open to fresh ideas than most business leaders. It's a perfect time for your perfect meeting. Besides, you don't have to deal with the hardest part of selling change to people who chose the original solution, because new entrants have no vested interest in any of the status quo, and they weren't involved in the original decision. They have things like new job roles for your current contacts, a large customer announcement. If your prospect has just landed a significant account, they're about to have a whole lot more money rolling in. Why not spend some of it on you? Company expansion, company relocation. a new product or service announcement, a competitive product service announcement, mergers and acquisitions, even things like a significant change in hiring velocity. So there's software out there that I show my clients where you can track companies who might be hiring at a certain pace, say 10%, but you will get alerted the moment they start changing the velocity of hiring, i.e. they start hiring about 40% of their staff levels and it goes from 10 to 40. That's a massive and timely opportunity for you if that is something you can leverage as the intro for your consulting. I could go on all day, and I might even do a follow-up webinar just on this topic. With some intelligent thought, there are ways to turn most of these into the absolute reason why a prospect absolutely must meet with you now, even if you'd never heard of them until you've had the notification telling you to contact them. And there is software and tools available that make this level of research easy. So take these two examples from opportunities that hit my inbox daily or weekly as I require. On the left-hand side, we have some pretty easy Google alerts of some trigger events that are relevant for me. These are people who have announced a new sales director hire or a new product announcement. And these are amazingly timely opportunities for me to contact for my sales consulting. And on the right are daily alerts about news, press releases, funding, job changes, just about any trigger event you can imagine from companies I have specifically entered into a software to monitor these things for me. When I click on these, it takes me to the relevant articles, news releases, job postings, funding notices, whatever the trigger is. Can you begin to see how powerful these very simple trigger notifications can be in providing you so many high-value consulting opportunities? And of course, there are 100 other ways which I can show you if it's a right fit for your situation. So in this image, my outsourcer has a process where he monitors LinkedIn and top job sites like Monster for people posting some very specific jobs relevant for my sales consulting, such as sales development rep. He then goes out and finds the names of the VP of sales and other C-level contacts in those exact companies, using the processes I show my clients. He then gets their business email addresses. He provides this to me in a detailed spreadsheet, which allows me to make very, very timely and relevant introductions. Because in my consulting business, I specialize in helping companies that hire sales development reps to get them to full capacity in half the time the companies do on their own, and often quicker. So this is a timely and relevant conversation that gets my foot in the door effortlessly. But like all things, you have to have a system to plug this into before you get lost and succumb to overwhelm. Of course, I use my own system to do this. I thought you would like to see this because it isn't always about winning new clients. This was the exact email I sent out after I received a trigger alert that a global technology company called New Voice Media was promoting content by another thought leader like me in my consulting subject matter. Within minutes, I'd got an alert that they were promoting his new book. I used the tools I showed you and profiled their top global marketing people. I then sent them this email, which was based on a standard template I give my clients. The whole process took less than 10 minutes. And the result? Within 14 days, I had negotiated a contract to produce 6 white papers for them, which I was handsomely rewarded for. You can still see the white papers live on the New Voice Media website today. And do you know what the best part is? This company is one of the major vendors to my ideal prospect profile clients. They sell to my best prospects. And not only that, they promote my content with my links in the content, all pointing back to my website and all positioning me as the industry thought leader. And I get leads from these every single day. And I'm willing to bet that many of you would have created this content for free to get the exposure. Am I right? Well, let's just say I got a nice little bit of revenue from this too, and all because I approached them with the right message at the right time, something I'd never have been able to do in any other way. Now you've built that amazingly qualified list of high quality prospects, it's time to build your outbound system. And you use the perfect contact strategy to get people into your perfect meeting. So if you're like many of my best clients, you're probably sat there thinking, but I can't make direct contact because of one of 100 different excuses I've heard before. But listen to this story to see how detrimental that line of thinking is actually to your success. Recently, I was mentoring a consultant called Paul. Like most of my clients, Paul gave me a long list of excuses why he can't make direct contact with his ideal clients. I don't know their telephone number. I don't know their email. They're busy and won't want to talk to me. I don't know how to get past gatekeepers. I'm not ready quite yet. I'll try and figure out a way of getting a referral to them. Everyone on Facebook says cold contact doesn't work anymore and ruins your expert positioning. Like a lot of consultants I work with initially, Paul was terrified to make direct contact to his best high value prospects. And it boiled down to a lack of self-belief. The only person holding Paul back was Paul. I asked Paul about the last client he helped achieve dramatic results. He told me about a client that he worked with that was struggling with staff retention. It was crippling them. They were forever recruiting and training new staff who would then leave within 2 years. This vicious cycle was costing them heavily financially and was severely hampering their growth aspirations. Paul ran a consulting project with them that reduced their staff churn by half within a few months and was on track to save that company over $1 million every single year, and also gave them a strong platform of consistency to go out and win new business and grow. The company loved Paul and gave him glowing testimonials. But when I spoke to Paul, he was struggling to see where his next client was going to come from, despite this brilliant project he just finished. So Paul, how much is the result of that project worth to the company in terms of recoup revenue, increased value in the business, and any possible sale price? Take it all into account. So he thought about it for a while and said, I guess conservatively $5 million to the company, I guess at least. And what are you going to do now? Well, hopefully get some inspiration from you around how to get new clients. I've heard you're the ideas man. Okay, so let me ask you something. Did you get a very good understanding of the problems that business was facing? Of course, he replied. Did you develop a system to solve that problem quickly? Yeah, of course, he replied. And are there other businesses like your client that are struggling with the exact same problem? Well, I suspect so, he said. I hadn't really thought about it. Would it be ethical to contact other businesses like your client who are facing the exact same issues? Well, absolutely, he said. There's no clash of interest, even if I worked with 20, 30 clients in the exact same industry. So do you think they would welcome a conversation with you if you contacted them directly and said something like, hey, I think you may have this problem that might be costing you this much and I may have a solution for you. Would you like to start a conversation? Well, absolutely not, he said. In fact, they'd probably bite my hand off, wanting to know what I knew. We talked and Paul began to realize the excuses he previously gave me were not true. He saw that he had a duty to do everything in his power to make first contact with those business people and give them the opportunity of speaking with him. We obviously agreed he had value in the marketplace, and the only thing stopping him getting the results he deserved was because he didn't have a process to make first contact. So he agreed he owed it to his prospects to make that direct contact, and I walked him through his choices of how to do that and why only one was the correct choice for him. So the number one consideration for him was which contact method to use. There are really only three main ways to commence a direct contact approach: cold calling, LinkedIn, and cold emailing. And we're going to deep dive into those three. And I'm going to show you why cold calling and LinkedIn are the slow and hard way, and why the relatively little used approach of cold emailing is the quick and easy way that is getting a minimum of 10 times the results of the other two and can be done by anyone quickly with no prior experience, no years of learning, and no having to become someone you are not. So let's start with cold calling. Hey, I'm not going to BS you here. For some people, cold calling works, but it's becoming increasingly harder and harder, and not for the faint of heart. People active on social media are seemingly trying to polarize their position by either proclaiming cold calling works or cold calling sucks. But that is pure nonsense. We do not live in an either-or world. Of course, some people can make it work, and I know many of them, but the ability for most people to be successful at it is rapidly declining. Direct dials are virtually impossible to get. People don't answer their phones or in back-to-back meetings all day. Look, I can train you to be a star cold caller if that's what you really wanted, but I can guarantee you don't really have the desire, and or I can guarantee you don't have the time to both learn and make the calls necessary. And besides, unless you are a rare breed of person, you'd never really enjoy it or see it through. And you don't have to, because there is a way that is 10 times more effective. So let's have a look at the second option, which is getting a lot of buzz at the moment, and that is LinkedIn groups and direct LinkedIn direct messaging. Because remember, we're talking about building an outbound system you can control with absolute certainty. LinkedIn pulsing groups may work for you, but we are talking about controlled direct contact that is scalable. And the only way to do that on LinkedIn is using LinkedIn messages. There are two ways to do this on LinkedIn. The first is to invite your prospects to become a contact, and I've tried this way, even had an outsourcer to do it on my behalf. And look, for every 1,000 connection requests we sent, we had around 350 accepts, who we then could count as direct connections, which would allow us to message them. That is a painfully slow, expensive way, even when run by an outsourcer, and it's ultimately very, very hard to scale. And I was also adding to the biggest problem on LinkedIn at the moment, and that is the sheer weight of automated messages and spam. But whether it be pitches, join my group requests, or even connection requests, which are from spam fake profiles. But I don't know if you know, you can get our fake profile software for around about $30 that will create profiles and send out message requests, all to capture your contact details. And because of all of that, no one really pays any attention to LinkedIn messages anymore. And if there is a slim chance they do, around 80% of people on LinkedIn use their personal email address and have turned off all notifications, so it can be months before they even check their mail. And if you can still get all of that working, their highest paid plans at around $130 per month only give you 30 in-mails to message non-contact, which is a tiny figure considering the hotbed of spam the place has become. So even in the unlikely event you get a 5% response, you are still only going to get 1 or 2 replies a month. And that's hardly going to allow you to scale your business. And remember, my promise to you was to show you a simple and blazingly fast way, which LinkedIn really isn't. And there is also a hidden element that really grates on me when I see people advertising courses showing how to fill your consulting sales pipeline for free using LinkedIn. Well, that's pure bullshit. Look, I learned this above exercise from the well-respected marketer and writer Dan Kennedy many, many years ago. And it's brilliant for showing you the value of your own time. So say your target earnings are 300k. We have at most 1,760 hours of work in a year. Once you divide this into your 300k, then your hourly contribution towards your revenue is $170.45. But you also have to take into account that it's likely that at best you're going to be efficient 1/3 of the time. So that means we have to times that number by 3, which gives us an hourly rate of $511.35 towards your revenue contribution. It's an amazing exercise to give you clarity on where you need to be focusing your time and what you need to be investing in to grow your revenue. My point is, you're an intelligent, educated person. Next time someone is trying to sell you on the next best way to send in-mails and peck around in LinkedIn groups and win business for free by hanging around in those LinkedIn groups, you're bright enough to call bullshit on that. An hour pecking around answering questions is worth fill in the blank value based on your hourly value using the above formula. So what's the best way? So the best way that all of my clients are using at the moment is cold emailing. Look, cold email is the fastest growing outbound lead generation approach. It's in tune with modern communication preferences, and look, it's not reliant on human ups and downs, and it's absolutely predictable and scalable. And when we're looking at things like trigger events, we're getting roughly about 60 to 80% success rates engaging with companies, especially because that magical timing, which allows you to get in first, shorten the sales cycle. And it's the technology enabler that has allowed us to really scale cold email as a fast and efficient way of getting in contact with new prospects. So there's not a huge amount of steps that you need to take with cold email. So firstly, research your highly targeted prospects, find their email addresses and a reason to engage like I've already shown you. Load the prospects into your outbound emailing technology, which is very, very cost effective if you don't have something in place, or you can generally use the stuff that you've already got. Send an outbound email, which is one purpose only, and that is to elicit or solicit a response. And then you can even put in what we call multi-touch sequences or cadences, which mean you can effortlessly create a sequence of 3, 4, 5, or 6 emails that you can queue up. They all look handwritten by you. In fact, we often see our best results off the 4th or 5th email. Of course, there is a very specific way of writing those emails, and I shortcut my clients' learning time by handing them the swipe and deploy templates when they become clients. So let me illustrate with an example from my client, Michael. So Michael has sent over 1,000 emails to businesses on LinkedIn and directed people's emails with 0 response because his entire strategy was completely off. He feared cold calling and didn't want to have to invest the time or the energy to get good at it, or just bite his lip, hold back his fear and knuckle down to it. He had tried some long pitching emails that were just direct and scream delete me. He was using a well-known template he had found on the internet that was completely wrong for his circumstances. It got him 0 response, yet he had an impressive track record in his consulting business, and he knew he could win business if only he could get to speak to the right people, i.e. the elusive and hard to access CEO. It really wasn't too difficult to target his ideal prospects, who are CEOs of mid-sized US manufacturing firms with operations in China. So what does Michael have to say about the system we created? Now, if you're considering Peter's system, it's because you are not getting the results you want from your own system or prospecting. Or if you're like I was, you really don't have a system. You are engaged in random stabbings. Peter can and will fix that for you, rapidly, effectively, and affordably. I've gone from a total dependence on referrals to a pipeline exceeding $600,000 in fees under current discussion with new CEO prospects within 3 weeks of launching the outreach program Pete put in place for me. I couldn't be happier, and you can do the same. And this was sending out around about 300 email introductions over a few short weeks. Heck, I'm not saying you'll get these type of results, but you will see results. I guarantee you will, with the right system. And this is what the results typically look like. Either a reply back from the CEO or VP directly, or from the PA asking them when is a good time to talk. I wish I could show you that it's more complicated than that, but the reality is it really isn't. It can be that simple. So I promise to show you the 3 steps to predictable consulting clients on demand. And that is the system. Define and profile your perfect prospects, make perfect contact, and then sell them into the perfect meeting. The 3 steps to building a predictable pipeline of high value, senior level consulting opportunities for you to turn into revenue for your consulting business. Okay, so now you have a choice. You can go forward alone and crush it out of the gate, but what are the chances of you actually truly going out there and taking action on this? Unfortunately, the problem is it's probably 0. It's so easy to sit here and listen to it and get excited, then the real world interferes, and before you know it, 6 months have passed and you haven't done one thing. You haven't done one thing that we talked about here on the webinar today. So I have 2 choices. 1, and hope, pray, cross my fingers and beg the skies above that you will take your own actions and that you will on your own, by yourself, go out there and do this. I can do that. Or I can take control. I can facilitate this. I can be the catalyst behind this to make sure no matter what, I won't allow you to get distracted. I won't allow you to fall back into that pattern that you fell back into in the past. So the 2 options I have are, I can let you go on your own and hope, or I can do something about it. Because right now, I'm looking to personally work with the right people to help you implement absolutely everything I've just shown you today. Would you like to have the consulting sales system in your business? We'll be following my proven step-by-step blueprint for sales success in your consulting business. My only aim is to help you get consistent clients into your business so you no longer have to worry where the next client is coming from. For the right person watching this, you know you have hit the home run here. I'm going to mentor and guide you through the entire process and ensure you have everything up and running in a matter of weeks, not months or years, that it would probably take without my help. And know this, if we end up personally working together, I'm going to help you with absolutely everything from I'll help you target your perfect prospects, profile them, and get their business email address and set up monitoring for all the best trigger events for you so you can have a constant stream of new prospects in your business. I'll help you create your perfect contact outreach strategy to cut through the clutter and get attention with your perfect prospects and get them replying to you asking when they can speak with you. When your prospects see it, they'll be excited to speak to you, knowing that you know exactly what position they're in, that you just seem to get it, and they will be so curious to understand how you can help them. And thirdly, look, we'll have fun putting together your perfect meeting content, which is going to turn even the coldest responses into hot prospects desperate to find out when they can get some time with you to meet you over the phone or in person, however you decide it's going to work. All you need to do to apply to work with me is to visit www.peterodonahue.com/apply. Then follow the steps to schedule a 20 to 30 minute call with me to see if we're a good fit to work together on implementing your consulting sales system. As a minimum, I guarantee you'll take away at least one way of tweaking what you are already doing that will help you win at least 3 new clients instantly. I must stress though, this is not for everyone. So please don't bother applying if you are looking to make a quick buck without delivering any value to your clients. This model is not for you. It's very important that the clients I work with are in alignment with my values and strong ethics, integrity and honesty. Although I aim for super fast results, so this is not for you if you're looking to push a button and get rich quickly. Look, I'm going to be holding your hand through the entire process, but you will have to put in the work to get the big results. So if you're the type of person who doesn't like to work and prefers to blame others for delays, then no, I just cannot help you. This is not for you if you believe that you can just sit in the corner and meditate and money will just manifest for you. This is not for you if you believe that you can succeed without doing any work at all. Look, I am not going to spend the entire phone call trying to convince you. It doesn't work like that. Evidence that this works is everywhere, and the results I get speak for themselves. And the hundreds of people I've helped all over the world in dozens of different industries are testimony to that. However, this is absolutely for you if you want help growing a profitable consulting business. Working closely with me will enable you to skip the years of going in the wrong direction and just get it right first time. I've helped countless people who have started a system from scratch and got up and running fast. You don't have to have a huge client base to do this, as we were helping you to instantly build one from the get-go. And if you already have some sort of prospect list, then the results are going to come even quicker for you too. And working with me is going to really fast-track your own success, quicker than you ever imagined. You have to remember this system is worked in every industry I've tested it in. So if you're a personal or management consultant, HR consultant, IT consultant, business consultant, project management consultant, brand consultant, cost reduction consultant, energy consultant, or any consultant for that matter, you have a skill and an expertise that can be sold. This is going to revolutionize your current business model. With my help, this system can be implemented fast. To have me help you install a sales system into your business, just go to www.peterodonahue.com/apply to apply. You will not find this opportunity anywhere else. And of course, as you can imagine, Spaces in my mentoring and implementation program are extremely limited due to the nature of how much time and effort I'm going to put into helping you achieve dramatic results. I only work with a very small number of people at any given time. However, the people who do work with me are going to experience growth like they've never seen before. Just like Scott did. Scott is an absolutely amazing client of mine. Man, I really love my clients, and I'm humbled by the nice things my clients said. Scott, so you could spend days cobbling together a patchwork system and hope it works, or buy this step-by-step system that's pretty much plug and play. And possibly the biggest bonus, you won't find a more responsive person who's more committed to making your business work than Peter O'Donoghue. And of course, blushes. So now you have two choices. Choice one, you can go at this alone based just off the information we went over on the webinar today. Or choice two, you can apply to work with me right now and you can have this up and running within the next 3 weeks, generating you lots of clients consistently. And think about that. Imagine never having to start a month again wondering where the money is going to come from. So this is what I am committed to do for the people who get to personally work with me. So if you're looking for rapid growth, it's time to take the first step. So visit www.peterodonoghue.com, apply, and schedule a call with me so we can hop on the phone and see if this is a good fit. And think about it this way. Even if this just got you a few extra clients a month, would that be worth it? What about if I gave you something that would make a breakthrough and get you one extra client? Would that be worth investing some time? If you have any doubts about whether you can do this, you don't. It's proven to work. Look, if you can help people and are ethical, then I believe I can help you grow your business. I believe in you. I believe unequivocally in my system and the power it has to help you achieve your goals. John took a leap, and here is what he had to say about the experience. One of the easiest investments you can make, whether you are new to generating leads from outbound cold emailing or you are an old hand with this relatively new technology, the sales prospecting system has to be one of the easiest investments you can make. The logical sequence and step-by-step guides from identifying suspects and sending your first and subsequent email to prospects to getting that all-important meeting ahead of your competitors have a natural flow that I've never seen before. It is certainly being used in my company. We specialize in B2B and have a long sales cycle, and I am delighted with the program. So I want to ask you a question. So you've probably been on these kinds of webinars in the past, right? You get excited, you get fired up about the possibility, and then what happens the next day? Probably nothing for most of you. And it's sad because I just showed you the exact system my clients and I are using right now to win high-value consulting clients, shorten their sales cycles, and build a predictable sales system. Now, you're going to go back tomorrow and not do anything. And the reason why is because old habits, they're just hard to break. You're going to go back to your office tomorrow and be in the exact same bad habits. The only way you're going to be successful is if we figure out a way to break that habit right now. The way you're going to break that habit is by taking decisive action and applying to talk to me. Look, I'm willing to invest in you. Are you prepared to take the first step? If you're ready to take some massive action to do some really cool stuff and change your business for the better, then this is what we're going to do. Come apply right now at www.peterodonoghue.com/apply, or there should be an image that looks something like the one on the screen here on the right-hand side of this webinar. Just click that and it will take you right to the application page. So what is just one client worth to you as a consultant? $5,000, $20,000, $100,000 or more? Surely that has to be worth investing 20 minutes to find out what this is all about. If you are serious, then I'm willing to invest my time in you. Like I did with Antoinette. I don't have to try to make it up anymore. I used to think there was an art to selling, and that scared me because it felt hard to pin down. What I love about Peter's systems is that it puts structure and framework around the sales process so I don't have to try and make it up anymore. All you have to do is make a commitment to yourself right now that you are fed up with the status quo. This is why I care so much about your success, because you're a consultant and you deserve better. Are you ready to step up? If you're sick and tired of where you're stuck at in your business, apply to work with me right now by visiting www.peterodonahue.com, apply, and let's jump on that call. Like Jeff Perry did when he invested in one of my programs. What makes it great is it's not just a bunch of tactics, but it's very strategic as well, which allows you to maintain a high level of positioning with your prospects. Without maintaining positioning, you will be relegated to commodity status and have to beg for business and compete only on price. Follow and implement what you learn in this system, and you will have prospects coming after you instead of you chasing them. The 3X future fit questions revealed in the system are brilliant. So this mentoring and implementation program is the first of its kind, and this is the only place you'll be able to work with myself to very quickly help you win high value consulting clients. All you need to do is click on the image on the right or head straight over to www.peterodonahue.com/apply. And you'll see the start of the application process where the button is that says, yes, I'm ready. Just click that, fill in a few simple questions, and we can be talking within a matter of days to see if there is a fit for you with this system. Well, look, I'm so chuffed for you for sticking around. Very few people take that much action. I personally think we're going to get on like a house on fire, but can't wait to talk to you. So for me, that's the end of the webinar. So thanks very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Bye for now. Signing out, Peter.